years ago, I had a vision to try and attempt to redefine a supercar. The idea around it is to create a limited amount of versions of the Razor GTR. It was an easy route to take to buy a kit from overseas or locally and just put it onto a car. But we wanted to create the proudest South African version of the GTR. We've managed to get a supercar, engine-wise, be 1,000 horsepower running on pump fuel. I'd like to present to you the Razor GTR.
Hello and welcome to the show. Nothing serious today in today's episode, something interesting. Raziek Rajah of Good Hope Construction is here. Now, here's the funny thing. We've been in school together. I remember him as being this gentleman kind of guy that's probably always doing well in the class kind of thing. I, on the other hand, was probably some introverted idiot, and he'll probably tell you about that. So it was very strange for us to finally meet up, but we had something interesting going, and that was my crew saw that Razor GTR, and that's what we're going to talk about. I didn't realize that he's into all of that. Raziek, welcome to the show.
Thanks very much, Faizal. Thanks for having me.
So after all these years, and before we start, I want to tell you something. I'm dedicating this episode to your mom.
Okay.
And that's because she was my English teacher, and you need English also to be on an English-speaking talk show.
Yeah.
so it goes very far back. In any case, you move on with life, and the next time I see you is driving around like a hell driver with this thing that we're showing people now. All my audience know I'm very bad when it comes to cars,
right.
And I'm very slow. So you're going to have to tell me where all that started.
Yeah, what I'd say is, you know what, my dad, and my late mom was Raziek Rajah, and my dad is Ismail Rajah. My dad was a stock car driver.
I knew your mother's Mrs. Solomon's back in the day.
Right, yeah. That's right. So that was still with all your name changes and all of those things that we had to do, colorful things in the pre-South African regime. But the fact is, my dad was a stock car driver in the day, so I think racing is sort of something that is in and around the family. But what happened on our side is, from Good Hope Construction, we decided to start a racing team called Good Hope Construction Racing. That broadened out to drifting, which we might touch on later. And
so this is an organic thing. It wasn't really a planned thing. It just started happening.
Yeah, it just started happening. It was something that you know what. It was something where I met a guy at that time, and he's become a friend, and then he's a fellow drifter, and it broadened out into something a bit more than where we thought it would go to. And what then happened was, I was grappling with the fact of I want to buy a car. And I looked at it and I said, listen, it's the easy option to walk into a showroom, and I've done that, look at a nice car and say, I really like this, but I wanted to create something different. Then after saying and agreeing to myself, saying I want to create something different, I then had to now look at how to create something different. So now the option was, the easy option is to take a kit from overseas, slap it onto a car, and you know what your end result is going to be. And then I sat it down and I thought to myself, listen, you know what, I'd like to actually build something. I think it's every guy's childhood dream to say, I want to build something really crazy, and hopefully it can maybe make that
and something different.
Something different. So it took me about a year to grapple with the fact to buy something that fits into Supercar League and cut it up, because that's literally what you've got to do. and then to go and use the team that assisted me to achieve this goal, to now we create a kit and then put that onto a car, and aside from the rest of the world, yourself saying, listen, I hope I'm going to like what I'm doing. You know, I mean, the idea behind this was also to showcase that even though the outside world sees South Africa as a third world country based on economies of scale, South Africa doesn't have third world people. You know, and I think
and we've got inspirations and we have ideas.
Exactly. So
we're not running around.
We don't have third world brains. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so we don't run around in a tiger skin.
Exactly. So
I heard that in India. so
that was the idea. We, you know what? The thing is this: to give you an idea of the guys that were involved with it. I had a chat with a mate of mine, Noor Asperin, and he had a vision and a passion to also do this crazy looking GTR that would rival the best of the likes out there. And from there, we then interacted with Niaz from X-Mods, and from that I had a chat with a friend of mine, Otto Graven, that hails from the drifting side. And I said to Otto, listen, we're going to try to attempt to create a wide-bodied kit, not to match up to the best in the world, but to create a South African version. Whether the media or the people out there say that this does actually play the part, fantastic. But you can't have this wide-bodied, amazing kit to a car, and then you're sitting with a standard engine.
Correct, yes.
So
you were looking for the complete inside, outside, the look, the feel, plus the power and everything
plus the power to attach to it. So what that sort of mushroomed into is building 1,000 horsepower engine, taking the stock GTR motor, and that was the one good thing that I liked about when I thought about it 2 years ago. I said the GTR is a car that is you can at least work within the mechanics. The suspension and these things can handle those type of speeds. So I did a bit of homework surrounding the R35 Nissan GTR, and aside from watching hundreds of thousands of YouTube videos of what guys have done, the thing was that I, from my side, wanted to showcase that South Africa, we don't have to just go and buy kits in from overseas. We've got the ability, we've got the manpower to be able to do these things. And what's been a great experience for me in this entire journey is that I posted for example, I posted a photo on Facebook, and I thought, okay, you know what, I might get a few likes. And I went 10,000, 20,000,
seriously,
50,000 views. Then I had 100,000 views. Not whoa, this is getting a bit serious.
So you obviously knew there's some interest.
Yeah. So I mean, and the other thing was, what for me was amazing was that there are a lot of GTR kits out there, and here's this wide body kit, proudly made in South Africa. And then when it went to 300, 400, when it went over 500,000, I thought, listen, I phoned up a friend of mine, and I said to him, listen, you into media. Over 500,000 views on a photo. He said to me, that's insane.
Yeah.
So
no, of course it is.
But my intention, the box I wanted to tick was two. The one is I had my wife Noel support me through all these crazy adventures that I've done.
I want to quickly touch on that matter. So most guys going outside and doing the dangerous thing,
all right,
their wives are going to complain. You're saying she is part and parcel of all of this?
I think Noel is the one that actually pushes me from the back to say, listen, you need to get that done. Like I mean,
that's amazing.
Like with drifting, if the videos don't look too great, I get a call. If the videos are great, I get a thumbs up. You know what?
And I see the kids are there, your dad's there, your brothers are involved.
That's right. I mean, it's with Good Up Construction being a family business, us having the Good Up Construction Racing with my brother Raziek Rajah is a fellow drifter with me. The thing about it was that it's become a family sort of, and because the business is a family business, we don't just have staff. We look at it as a family environment. So it's broadened into that. But I think the one good thing is that I've managed to include them in it. I think it's always difficult in a sport or something, a passion that you have. and your family is not attached to it, whether
No,
it's
of
your
course.
immediate family or whether it's your extended family.
Good, of
So,
course.
so I've got a lot of crazy car-loving people
Just
in
the
the Rajah
vehicle
family.
itself carries the branding of Good Hope Construction.
That's right.
Do you believe that it's attracted a bit of attention to the business itself from a branding point of view?
Yes, you know, the fact surrounding it, I think, is that, you know, South Africa still, we've got a few legs to go with regards to business and regards to non-white business. You always have the stigma of there's a contractor, can they afford, can they do this? And I think sometimes when people see that you actually have things like race teams, or you have places to reside at the rugby, it creates an impression that, listen, you know what, you don't have to worry, I'm not going to run away with your money. You know, we don't need the, it's sometimes that
It's a credibility factor.
as a credibility, you know. So I think from Good Hope Construction side, for us as well, it was something, because I'm obviously a part of the executive at Good Hope.
Yes.
It was also creating that fun aspect, because for our staff, it's a fun event. You know what I mean? Drifting is one of those sports that grips you, because it's 30-40 seconds, it's a minute at most, and then the next run comes on. So it's always something different. It's not watching the same thing, you know.
Do you ever leave the house feeling at some point that the day might come that you just don't pull this off properly, and what if something goes wrong?
Well,
Raziek, that thought must have hit your mind at some point.
Well, I think what happens is when you get to a lineup, which I experienced last year. You know, I was sort of shielding myself from having my coming out party. Zaid, my brother, is a lot more fashioned surrounding coming out in events and that sort of thing. And I was sort of pausing this, and that's where I say my wife took out the whip and said, listen, you're getting into this event, you know what I mean? I don't want to hear what you got to say.
But does it fear ever come to you itself?
When you are at a starting lineup, I don't think there's anybody that can say they don't have that massive amount of nerves that comes in.
So
It's a massive
anxiety.
adrenaline rush, you know what I mean?
But I mean, I'm talking about maybe the deeper sentinel thoughts of, what if I make a mess of this?
Well, you know, that's the other side, and that, I think, defines different drivers. When it comes to driving, like Otto, that has mentored my Otto Graven, he's probably South Africa's most accoladed drifter. He's drifted overseas as well, and I think the one thing that I always remember what he's advised myself inside is that before you pull up anywhere, you need to mentally be able to do something. And I think that defines different race drivers. You know, the nerves will always be there, but you got to have that confidence in yourself, because in that car, nobody can assist you.
Of course.
You know, you've got to have a serious level of self-confidence to go at 100 or 120 towards a wall. You know what I mean? Because
Exactly.
you literally have split seconds to decide. Brake, e-brake.
It's a very kamikaze kind of approach to things, I must admit. I would love watching what you're doing, and I saw some of the videos before the show, and I find it absolutely amazing. But while I was watching that, I'm thinking to myself, I would probably be with binoculars in some building over the road, and that's where it's going. I think it's different strokes for different folks.
Yeah.
Just going forward, where do you see all of this going in the future? I think that you're onto something. You're on the highway at the moment with this. Excuse the pun, and it's working well. Where do you see it all going down the line?
Well, what my idea was.
I've heard you've been overseas too.
Yeah, the point in case of where I see Razor GTR going is what the ultimate goal, I think, of any person that has built a car is to have it appreciated and to get that positive response. You know, we've been fortunate and blessed with the Almighty's grace I actually just took a car to a show. It was the Street Mod show, and then we won first place on the supercars, and then we won the overall first place of 2016.
That's great.
So then I actually asked myself the question, where does this go? And I think what my goal is to build 10 limited GTRs, and I'm not here to sort of horse trade onto a kit. It's not a business venture. So what my idea is to create a limited amount of versions of this kit.
Collectors kind of thing.
So it's you know, I've had offers on the car, and that was not the intention when I built it, to find a quick buy or a quick sale. And likewise on the kit, you know what I mean? The thing about it is to document something like how I've had my build documented for someone. So he has a coffee book, he has a cast iron model car for GTR to put onto his desk. So that's the vision that I looked at. You know, I think every car builder would love to end up at SEMA. That's the International Car Show of custom cars and showcase, listen, of custom and new cars. To showcase this is what we've done. I'm not aware of any South African cars that have hit the SEMA floor. It is a dream, and let's see where the road takes us. You know, I mean, we've been in Speed and Sound now. They've covered the car build, and then as one feature, and the next feature that comes out now, they cover the feature on the fully built car.
So Raziek, it's a dream come true for you.
That's true.
Building that. But there are many people watching the show today that at most they can only watch what you're doing. For those that have similar inspirations and aspirations, what's your message to them?
Well, my message to them is, you know, the thing is this, that I've always had a motto. I mean, there was something that I held from what my late mom always advised us, and my dad as well, that if you follow the trend, you'll always sort of just be part of the flock of the sheep. And if you butt the trend, and I don't mean butt the trend and end up in Paulsmoor, but I mean butt the trend and do something.
While everyone's swimming downstream, you want to swim upstream.
Exactly. You know, so sometimes it's a more difficult road. Sometimes you achieve success, and sometimes you don't. But I think the learning curve out of it is one as an individual and as a person, you'd never be able to grow unless you could falter, stand up, and say, "This is how I'm going to do it better." You know, so I mean, the point for me building this car, it's not just about ticking the box and saying I've been in Speed and Sound. I think it's been more of an admiration to say South Africa can stack up to the rest of the world. You know, I mean, if you take engine-wise, you always have this, and I think the outside world has this impression that, as you said earlier, we're busy with tigers, we're busy with monkeys, and we're busy with all of these things. So when this photos went out, we completed a video on the journey that sort of blossomed into that. I was quite impressed to see what the outside world had to say. I mean, when guys in Japan, where the GTR, the R35 comes from, and they put there, wow, amazing. You know, that gives you that satisfaction that, listen, you know what, we've managed to put something together that at least has been appreciated.
Correct, yes. So within that fraternity, it's a feel-good South African story, a South African product, and something for all of us to be proud of them.
Exactly.
So we're going to catch up with you shortly after the break. Guess what we're doing, and that's going out and previewing the car. There's a reason I said that like that, eh? Because on the last review I did with Jaguar. So, today I go. So this is Razor GTR. I decided to hop in with Raziek Rajah, my old school friend, and we're gonna find out exactly what this car is really about.
Have you been in a 1,000 horsepower car?
No, never.
Never?
Never. Never.
Never?
Never. No, I'm a slow kind of guy. So that's the funny thing.
You're the Mercedes type of guy.
Shit! I should feel that. Shit!
Felt that?
Yo!
Okay.
That is a straight feeling because, yo, honestly. Let's talk about your fuel consumption.
I prefer not to talk about that. They say don't ask a woman her age. Right. Don't ask the GTR her age petrol.
That's it. But I never knew that it talk and do that, I must be honest with you, you get the sense of like your guts is starting to come out, and that's something. Right, sweet on TV. Sorry.
Did you talk, Faizal?
So we finally came off the road. I had a bit of a turbulent time there, if I can put it that way. I generally get those feelings on smaller aircraft, but this vehicle really did it for me. I must be honest with you, I'm not saying this because I'm trying to make the program look exciting, but I really felt that my tummy was sitting in the back of the seat, if not on the back seat itself. So Raziek, that's something that you got accustomed to, that brief momentary type of G-force, if I can call it that. Yeah.
Well, that was the whole idea. It was not only wanting to create a monster from the outside, but from the inside as well. And there's a lot of add-on features that you get standard on a GTR. You know, like take the screen that we're looking at here.
So that doesn't come standard.
No, it comes standard.
Right.
So you'd have your kilometers, your boost, and that sort of thing. So at least now, today you got a bit of a different show. You're hearing about turbos and downpipes and
exactly.
And so we've upgraded turbos.
I just want to put a disclaimer onto the program. You all know that I'm not very technical, but I'm just trying to go along with you. So, but for our average viewer, obviously this is not an average car, but I think we just need to maybe take some of the information so that they just understand exactly what's going on here.
Yeah, but basically what we've done engine-wise is we've done a certain amount of upgrades, being turbos, downpipes. We've got in a management system, which means you can run a different map. So it means you sort of not play around with the fueling, but you adjust the fueling, because more fuel means you can get more power. So the more power a car has, the more fuel it's gonna take. That's why when you asked me about fuel consumption, I laughed and I said, don't ask a woman her age.
because that's not a factor at all. But but one thing that I realized is that, and again from a very lay perspective, is the fact that when you have that amount of power going forward, you need an opposing force in terms of braking that can accommodate such, rather inhibit any future disaster by being able to brake very easily. What have you done there?
Well, even though the GTR comes out with ventilated discs, which is generally what you put onto cars that are fast, all your faster supercars would have ventilated discs, we still went the extra mile to upgrade those ventilated discs. The reason being is, you know what, you are correct. It's easy to make a car go faster, but to make a car stop,
which you're going to have to do at some point.
Which you're going to have to do at some point. So we've done those upgrades as well. But also with that is what our intention was to create something that's a daily driver. You have some cars that when they reach the powers of 1,000 horsepower or 800 horsepower and above, you actually can't use them as a daily driver. Whereas here, you can rock up at a fuel station and put in normal fuel, and you can still get that 1,000 horsepower feel like what you felt when you got into the car.
So how often do you do that? I mean, is that like were you just doing that today, or do you drive like that?
No, I do drive like that.
So it's because people love it, and obviously there's people looking at you saying, what the hell, is he crazy?
Yeah, so
you're getting two of that.
What I always say is when you do feather it and you get those sort of gunshots with the fire coming out from the exhaust, I think that's the interesting part for me. Cape Town drivers love the right lane. And you know, it's not about coming onto somebody's tellers. Normally I just feather it and you hear this gunshots, people normally just jump out of the right lane.
Thinking it might be some crime
yeah,
scene.
it's some explosion that's happening, so at least that's the one good thing. But from the overall, you know, the thing about it is also, it's not about just building a car to go driving around like a lunatic. You know, when we do the faster speeds in the car, we do it in a controlled environment. I think, you know, road safety is also a very important aspect, and being as a aspiring drift athlete and part of a racing team is also a responsibility to stuff like that.
Of course, yes. So something that I find interesting is that so Raziek lives in the same area like me, and sometimes you hear those gunshots. I always thought it was gangsters. Now I realize it's you all the time, because when we drove down the road I exactly heard all of that. So tell me, standard other features, or these all standard features?
Yeah,
the GTR.
What's happening is you've got standard features, but what we've done is in the inside, what we've looked at was we've kept it fairly straightforward and simple. You know, sometimes when a manufacturer gets something right and you're trying to redefine something, you take what they've done right and you don't go and adjust it. So we've obviously looked at maybe lettering on seats, and we've done the outside where we've got carbon fiber, because carbon fiber makes the car lighter. It assists with weight, it assists with your acceleration, speeds, and that sort of thing. And even though you'd see the big wing at the back, it actually is for downforce. You know, so it's not just putting something on for the sake of the look. You do need that downforce when you are going those speeds, because what has happened is, you've also taken a car and then you've taken it speed-wise in excess of 300 kilometers. So those are serious speeds, you know what I mean? It does from any supercar's point of view.
But Raziek, you have to admit, it does look good where it is.
Yeah, I mean, definitely it does. I mean, so you know that the point in case is also that having something that is also mechanically sound is very important, because sometimes you can build a car, and that's where, you know what, from Shazank Motorsport, I've got to thank them for their involvement on that, where you've built something that you don't have to worry about breakage, breakdown, because that's what happens with race cars. I mean, there's no race car that can go through a season without having something break, and that was the one thing that I wanted to avert with creating a daily driver, you know, so that whether a guy is a racing driver, whether or not, it's immaterial. You know what, you want to make your car look insane, and that it has that oomph with it.